It's your boy, Just Dom, catching the day's latest news. What's going on around the roads? Find out here first at the TCP Newsbreak.
Good morning to everyone out there. Welcome to the TCP Newsbreak. I'm excited to be here, and I have the wonderful community supporting us here. I have our guests here introduce themselves. Thank you guys for being here. Good morning.
Well, my name is Kendra Kennard. I am the director of the Jack Walker Boys and Girls Club of Lancaster.
Awesome. Thank you.
Sorry, is it my turn?
Yeah, sorry.
I'm so sorry. Everything froze for like 2 seconds. I apologize. My name's Karen Schler. I'm the executive director of the Boys and Girls Club.
Awesome. Thank you for being here as well.
Thanks for having.
Hi guys, Josh Hunter. I am the clubhouse director at the Southeast Boys and Girls Club of Lancaster.
Appreciate that. Well, again, thank you guys for being here. For the people that are tuned in, obviously this is pre-recorded. Please share if you're watching. For starters, let's get right into it. I know this has been a trying time for a lot of people in our community, and you guys have been on the front lines. It seems like you guys haven't even stopped working since this happened, maybe even working twice as hard to support the kids that you service and the families you service. I want to know specifically, and I know the community wants to know, what are some of the biggest challenges, and what are some of the things that you would like to talk about that you've overcome during this pandemic?
I'll start. These guys on the call with me and the folks that we have working in our clubs are really they are the dream team. They're the ones making it happen on a daily basis. I think for us as leaders within the community, and I say that as a collective in totality, it's been not knowing. Like from day one, when the schools closed on March 13th and we stayed open, I think we might have been the only youth agency that stayed open during that day. Just because I couldn't believe a world without serving kids on a daily basis. So that weekend, I think we were all on the phone once or twice trying to figure out what our new model was going to look like, because we had to make the decision to close the clubhouses down to regular service. It was still super important for us to figure out a way to serve kids, to see our kids, to be able to have a conversation, even if that's 6 feet away, be able to have a reason for them to come in. Not actually come into the clubs, but to the outside of the clubs, and for staff to still have contact to all of the kids that we have, I think is super important. I think first week it was a little bit slower, obviously, than it is now. Kids, families have gotten really used to, I think, coming in, checking in, seeing another person. There's relief in that. I think for all of us, like personally seeing someone, not just on video. And so I know our staff that have been able to stay on the front lines serving meals have really enjoyed that interaction, being able to see families. We did have to make some hard decisions as far as paring down the amount of locations we were handing out food. So initially we had started with all of our clubhouses, except for on Water Street, except for at the Hill Club. Just that particular block, I don't think it's a secret to anybody in town. It's a really tough block to have kids standing in a line on Water and Vine, 6 feet apart with some of the people that are walking up and down the street. It just didn't feel safe to me. So Daryl and the staff there have been hand delivering meals to the families that live within that block. But yeah, we made a decision then to take Jack Walker's kids and try to promote that over to the Southeast Clubhouse on Dolphin and Duke was getting a ton of action as far as it was scaling up quite quickly. And we just didn't know how to do it. Like, we've never done meals. And one of the decisions that we had to make really quick early on was, we're just doing this. I don't know how we're going to pay for it. I don't know if this is going to be reimbursable. I don't really care. I just feel like this is the right thing to do. I can't just close our doors and not see and be here for our people and our community. So, having something that normally is a hot meal on a plate, to trying to figure out how do we keep kids kind of moving, because you can't congregate, right? And we didn't want to upset the mayor or anybody else or any of the rules. We're trying to keep in line with all of that. So putting it in a little brown paper bag and stuffing it full of goodies, and there's always like a hot sandwich or some sort of chicken nuggets in there, but they can walk and eat as they go. Was kind of the key for us anyway. So administratively, it's just been tough making sure that we have everybody communicated with. It's hard to do this. Like,
Sure, I
not
bet.
run
And I mean,
into it.
everyone has their own family and their own situation
Right.
to attend to.
Right. And I think really early on, we scaled back our hours immediately, communicated with everybody on that Sunday night to say that we'd have a plan in place by Monday, and let everybody know that we would take a 8-hour work day and shrink it into 5 hours if they could make that work, until they kind of figure all of our staff, family, figuring out how that looks in their own lives. But they stayed at work for 2 weeks, right, guys? You were like on site, whether it was cleaning or programming, doing snack, and then another 2 weeks worth of online trainings and trying to figure out TikTok, be relevant to kids. Like,
Hey, it's the real deal.
yeah, it's our new normal, right? Like, I never thought that would be something I'd be saying, but I am. Yeah, and then these guys have just taken it and run with it. It's been absolutely incredible to watch all the staff transition, but especially the leaders that we have at our clubhouses. It's super awesome. It's
Definitely
hard for all of us, but like, it's
what the
great
cool
when
part?
everybody rallies and comes together.
Exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself. The cool part about this all is you guys are killing it when it comes to the day-to-day interactions with these families and with these kids, but now the world gets to see it. So I'm a fan. I've been watching the videos you guys been putting up, and they're hilarious. Me and my son are at the crib cracking up like, yo, we got to do some of this stuff. This is so cool. How has it been trying to be innovative and staying with the times and meeting the kids where they're at when they literally can't even leave their homes?
I think it's kind of convenient, or I guess lucky, that some of our staff are very tech savvy. They are kind of up to date with the social media that's going on. They already kind of interacted with our kids while they were in the clubs, especially like Facebook. We're seeing a lot of parents, we're seeing a lot of adults, maybe some teenagers, but we're not getting the younger crowd. And then sure enough, we found them all on TikTok. They post like every 30 minutes, just them hanging out on their porch or singing a song on their couch. So being able to figure out how to work that app correctly, and be able to appropriately interact with them, it's just been awesome to be able to interact with not even only like my specific clubhouse, but all the other clubhouses, because I don't recognize a face, and then a kid will comment, where's Mr. Jamar, where's Miss Jess, where's Mr. Josh? So we make sure we get a video with everybody, like, here they are. So that's been super exciting to be able to interact on their level.
And I agree as well. I just think, like, when we were inside the clubhouse, the kids are like, oh, let's do a TikTok, and then you got like 1,000 kids behind you. So it's a little bit more easier and more manageable to be like, yeah, we're going to see you on TikTok. We got this. We're going to battle you, versus that being inside of the clubhouse. So there have been some good things to be able to say, okay, well, when we get back, okay, we could do a whole TikTok thing with all the kids because they love it. So getting them know where they are. And hey, we have TikTok club where you come in. I mean, they're going to have to teach me how to do it, but but if it's it's something that's hot and it's something that the kids want, so we should be making sure that we're giving them what they want as well. So
now, in regards to y'all working at the clubs and whatnot, she said that when the news first hit, you guys were still working. How scary was that? I mean, you guys still got families at home too. Like, when this news hit, how scary was that, being able to interact with the families, kids asking questions? Like, what were you telling them?
I think it comes all from a leadership. So we seen our leadership was cool, calm, and collected. They were able to get us out the message. They were keeping us updated as the information was coming into them. I think that always makes everyone else more calm and more, so it was easier to say, you know what, okay, cool, we may be closing our doors, but how are we going to make this last moment effectful for these kids? How are we going to leave a message for them to say, you know what, stay cool, stay calm. This is a hard time, we don't know, but hey, we're going to be calm. We didn't tell them to the end of the night. I left the last 45 minutes for them to be able to ask some questions. So we're not just saying, hey, we're not opening anymore. Bye, see ya. They have to process that, but we didn't want them to process it too early. But we still wanted to make sure that we gave them enough time that they were able to ask some questions and things like that. I mean, we have our own families, but the club is our family. Those kids they're near and dear. Those families are near and dear. So, you know, just thinking about it as that, like we're going to make sure that we're protected because we want to protect our staff family, but we would do the same with our own home family. So it's just all a big family. So I can't say like, yeah, you know, it wasn't, I mean, it was easy to say, you know what, we're going to still be here. We're not leaving. You know, our doors may be closed, but our phones are still on, and we're going to still be in the building. So that way, if you are walking by and you do need a couple seconds really quick, we can pop our heads out the door and have those conversations.
Right.
Yeah, he hit it on the money. Yeah, he hit it right on the money.
That's Josh, yo. That's Josh. Word. All right, so next question then. In regards to, you know what, since Josh, since you're speaking on it, you know, a big thing that's been all over Facebook right now is how you initiated the adopt a senior thing. That is awesome. The kids are loving it. The families are loving it. What sparked that interest? Where did that come from?
So Janine Miller, she was on Facebook and she was like, hey,
Yes.
I think adopt a senior would be awesome. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I tagged Derek and they're like, hey, Derek, have you heard anything like this? And then we kind of got into like a group message on Messenger. And he's like, actually, it has been done. It's been done in Columbia and other places, but I don't think we have anything here in Lancaster. And sure enough, later that night, it was Derek, you know, did all the graphics, did everything, and was like, adopt a senior. And I just think like for us, it's just been like, cool, I'm admin on this page, but what does this look like? I'm like, so kind of going through and figuring out, okay, this works, this doesn't work. And I think a lot of it was, why can't this be for every kid? And why is it just for McCaskey kids? Or why is it just for school district of Lancaster? And that's always a hard question to answer because you don't want to just say these kids are more important than these kids or this looks better than this. But I just think after talking with like Vincent, talking with Janae, and talking with a few other people, it's just McCaskey kids sometimes get left out or they don't always get recognized for doing good things. So we wanted to be so it was intentional about being about them, but also bringing in Phoenix Academy and Cyber School. So that way they're all able to see each other. Hey, we weren't in the same building, but we're all coming from the same place. And I think that's good for them to read other people's stories and know, hey, it wasn't just me. You know, we went through this too. And it's a way for old teachers to reconnect with them as well. We've been seeing a lot of that. But we just
awesome.
Families just kind of support each other. And I think that just takes us back to my club days. It was a village. You know, that everyone looked out for everyone. And that's what that space has become.
Awesome. So can you briefly explain what exactly is it? What does adopt a senior mean? What exactly are they doing in regards to it?
So basically what they're doing is it's like a big old graduation party. It's just everyone's invited to it. And what they do is the seniors can post a little bio about themselves. They post it in the group and then someone can adopt them. So what they're doing is the two people, so the adopter and the kid being adopted, they kind of connect and they figure out what the kid likes or they're interested. I know so far, like there's been a couple requests for school supplies and things like that. So some people are able to pay for textbooks for some of the kids, but
nice.
So it's really just kind of between what that family is looking for and what they kind of need support in right now. And I think I made a comment on there like, this isn't a charity thing, you know, it's just we want to help thing. We're here, we care, and just congratulations.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And we need more initiatives like that. I think that's the beauty of seeing what's happening during this pandemic. The community has really, really come together. And I think we need to keep that momentum. So Ms. Karen, I wanted to ask you, if you don't mind, how long have you been with the Boys and Girls Club?
I have been with the Boys and Girls Club for 23 years this year.
In those 23 years, have you ever been in a situation like this where you guys had to shut your doors to the community?
No. So this is everyone keeps saying uncharted waters. This is a crisis beyond this is like epic for us. I think Boys and Girls Clubs have had a really great reputation as far as keeping our doors open throughout some of the toughest times, whether it's downscaling and but still having doors open and staff employed. Something that I wanted to keep with in this particular pandemic was making sure that our staff understood that they're part of our family. We don't want to lose anybody. We want to retain everyone. We're going to figure this out. It's kind of been every 2 weeks. So no, I can honestly say that if I was bored being an executive director recently, this has really like kind of kicked me in my hiney and said, hey, here's a new challenge for you. Let's figure it out.
From the outside looking in, I could definitely say you've been leading by example, because there's a lot of let's just say a lot of organizational issues that may have gone by that, I mean, the community feels let down, like from education wise for that, for them to say, what can the community do? What can people do that are at home do to support your mission and keep this thing going?
You know, I want to kind of circle it back to the Adopt a Senior. I think that's this initiative that the community has taken on and recognized, and like that's always one event. Going to graduation every year, having to have it at the Marriott with 4,000 people and watching families like celebrate kids and our kids walking across the stage, like, you know, it gets you a little bit emotional, right? Like, so to watch this grassroots organic conversation about let's celebrate our seniors, let's let them know, let's shout them out, let's give them that opportunity. It didn't have to do with an agency. It had to do with the purpose and the reason and the authenticity behind it, that's really made it super successful, and no one's gotten in anyone's way. And I want to say, like, you know, the mission of the club is obviously to serve children, to make sure they're productive citizens in the future. Right now, our mission's a little bit different. It's to help and partner and communicate with all the other youth serving agencies and other human service agencies. I mean, this is really a time where we all, especially the nonprofit community, has to come together, because we will be the ones that are left to help support the community when all is said and done. So if we can stay functional in communicating now, I think that's super important. There are a couple partnerships that the Boys and Girls Club had already been in, and we had just kind of started, and it's from Habitat to Humanity to LHOP and CAP and Brightside and the Lancaster Safety Coalition and the City Alliance, and you know, everyone said, geez, what do we need? We really need, you know, somebody said, we think we can access $10,000 for to support our families. What does that look like? And I said, there's 10 agencies sitting around this table. $10,000. What can we do to make that $10,000 last the longest? And at that point, it was like, you know what, if we're going to open, and we are going to open, because this is only temporary. This is a small blip on a much larger surface. But what's going to continue to happen after this is we are going to use hand sanitizer like we have never used hand sanitizer before, right? We are going to need masks on a level that is absurd, like that our world has turned into everyone wearing masks, but that's our world right now. And so while it would have been easy to say that $10,000 could have been spent on, I don't know, gift cards to Giant, as a collective, we kind of led the conversation with, I think we need to source large numbers of these things so that when the moment comes that we can open our doors, we are ready, and we don't have any reason to say, oh, we can't open, we didn't think about that, or we didn't think about this. To be really honest, there is no hand sanitizer anywhere. Like, you can't, unless you get that 80% liquid stuff that is like moonshine, which is great, and we're going to use it at some point, but that's what it is. Like, that's what it's come down to. So, you know, making sure that every agency, because we're only as good as the next, as our neighbor, you know, I mean, that's that part of that village. So, as we continue to think about our kids, we have to think about the homeless, and we have to think about making sure they have homes, and we have to think about rent. And, you know, we're still outreaching and talking to families that seem to still be being evicted. And So it's kind of like, if you can get that message up to the leaders of those organizations and you're sitting at that table, I'm kind of saying, I feel like that maybe not what's happening, because here's a family that's going to be evicted. Can you help them?
Right.
I think that collective conversation really has helped us be awesome. As far as Lancaster County, like Columbia, Lancaster City, I mean, those are our homes, Columbia and the city. It has been super incredible to see the amount of people who have stepped up, people who want to volunteer. It's really hard for people to volunteer at this point, like the exposure level, and we don't want to create risk for the people who are volunteering. There's going to be at some point some contact mapping that's going to need to occur. So kind of keeping those numbers lower as far as interacting with our kids. But the agencies that have stepped up as far as donating food and just product and stuff, and it's been super overwhelming. And the message is super clear. Like, we need to continue to keep our cook employed, right? But we're not making the same meals that we normally do. So like, his job looks totally different. And if we can lower those expenses by getting donations and getting pizzas, I think we're getting like a ridiculous amount of pizzas on Monday. I'm kind of scared to like admit how many there are, because we might get like inundated and need more pizzas. But like, families will be given whole pizzas on Monday from the club.
That's
Like,
what's up.
that's nuts. That's so awesome. Like, and I don't want it to end there. I don't want it to just be a pizza. I want the snack bags to go out, and I want messages in those bags. And we want to make sure that our families know and our kids know that, hey, they can get in touch with us, like if they need to talk or that they're struggling with something. And I think, if we can continue that contact and that working together as a community, boy, I think we're doing a really good job. I think Lancaster's kind of killing it when it comes to making sure that we're looking out for one another, and that makes me so happy.
This definitely showed our true strengths as a community and that as a city that's been on the rise for a little bit. And then just us getting back to what we used to be. Josh was mentioning it. Like, I mean, a lot of us came from the Boys and Girls Club. So like, you guys are leading the pack and keeping it going. Like, that's a beautiful thing. Well, before we get out of here, please, if you guys have any announcements for the families or viewers that may be watching, please use this platform as you may. And thank you guys for joining us.
Yeah, I think for us, for the Southeast, our snack bags, like, they're a way for us to connect. So we do want to make sure that we are, like, if you have any questions, you are asking the staff. We understand times are hard, but we want to be there. We just want to support you guys through whatever through this whole entire thing. So if we could be of any assistance, please let us know. Snack bags at the Southeast are from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Awesome. Thank you.
So since Jack Walker kind of closed its doors to giving out snack, it's been difficult, at least I can say for me and my staff. We haven't been able to see the kids. We, as Karen said, we're trying to limit the exposure. So we had to be kind of creative on how can we interact with the kids. This past week, we just started making phone calls home, which has been super big. Every single clubhouse is doing it. Hill, Columbia, Southeast, and Jack Walker, we're all calling. All staff are calling, not just directors. It's been amazing to hear from parents. Parents are like, oh yes, please talk to the kid. You want to take them back already? Because I'm ready. Like, I'm ready for them to get out. So it's awesome to be able to kind of open that door of communication. And it's not like we're picking and choosing. We printed out all of our kids and called every single one, regardless if you came one time or regardless if you came 202 times. So it's been super rewarding. It's not going to stop there. We're continuing that. This is going to be an every week thing, and we want to expand that. So, Zoom, as we're doing right now, we want to be able to have fun group sessions, play Kahoot games, play some challenges that we're posting on our Facebook page. We're getting there. It's just, we need to be able to open up that communication for our parents and our kids. So if you're watching this, give us a call. We're here. We're ready. Josh is able to see the kids at Southeast. some of us aren't. So having that communication, we want to be there, we want to help, we want to be able to keep the positivity going. And I feel like this is, as Karen said, this is our new norm for now. So just keeping it moving, keeping the positivity rolling, and being there.
Yeah, definitely.
I
Now,
think,
I got a big question before we leave, though. I got a quick question. Do you think the kids miss homework? I'm pretty sure y'all help them with homework after school and stuff. Do you think they miss school?
Kids love
I
structure.
do.
Yeah.
Kids love structure, regardless of what that looks like for some. It's different for everybody, but kids want someone to hold them accountable for things. Kids want someone to even though they still do it, they want someone to say, hey, listen, that was wrong. I'm a firm believer in that, and I think that's why our kids kind of consistently come to the club, is because they're looking for that structure. The same that they get from school just kind of trickles down into the Boys and Girls Club.
Awesome.
I think kids need celebrated. And I think as much as what's going on in our homes, like it's just really hard and it can be really intense in a home where unemployment is happening and we're struggling for resources. And I think now more than ever, kids are looking for that structure, but they're also looking for that social ecosystem, right? Like
Definitely.
where other people know their name and other people are talking to them and they're talking and they're being celebrated and, hey, how you doing? Like, boy, what a miss, right? Like there's not a lot of other adults that are allowed to right now contact our kids and like face-to-face get in contact with them. And teachers are missing their kids. Make no mistake about it. This was something we did not see coming. We were not ready for it. Like, let's just say that. We were not technology savvy enough in our education system to be able to take this on, especially in our urban communities. We lack the equipment, let alone the internet. And then it's like the knowledge of how to work all of this stuff is super frustrating. Like that's insane to put.
Definitely get intense.
Yeah, here's an iPad and welcome to the platform of learning now. Like that's a lot. So yeah, I think kids miss school. I know they miss the club. These calls that everyone's been making, I mean, we're probably over 6 or 7, maybe 800 calls in by now. And we're trying to get everyone's new phone numbers. We know that that's probably going to be a situation that we're going to have to deal with moving forward, as far as maybe folks dropping some of their cellular plans, that sort of thing. So we need updated information so that we can contact. So I think for us right now, it's maybe a 2-prong approach, and that's let's stay connected to our kids, whether that's through calling, being online. You can get in touch with them through the Boys and Girls Club of Lancaster Facebook, through the virtual, contact the BGC staff, which is a group staff, so that we have some 2 or 3 staff responding at all times to any of the messages that are coming in. But also, hey, summer's coming. Like, I don't care what virus is out there. Summer is coming. And this is something we have to address. We have to figure out how we're going to ensure that our kids have somewhere to go that's safe, that is outside, that might be at another institution, that they're not stuck in a small apartment and potentially with no air conditioning. I mean, we know where our kids live. We know how hard it is to live in some of the spaces that they're asked to live in. When you say shelter in place and you do not have a shelter because you may be homeless or living with someone else's family, that's serious. And that's something that we have to take into consideration through the summer. So I will tell you that while we cannot answer whether we will have our traditional summer camp, it is looking more and more and more like we will be having some sort of summer programs.
Nice.
But it is so crucial that all of us, every single one of us, I don't care who it is, tell everybody, please do all the things the CDC is saying to do. We have to keep these numbers down and low for us to continue to scale up the economy and for us to continue to scale up programs like ours and open our doors so that kids can come in. The days of us serving 100 to 150 kids a night, we're probably past that at this point. But if we can serve 50 to 70 kids in a space throughout the day, throughout the evening, if we get permission to use buses, hey, we're going to camp. Like, a lot of this is just relying on the general public to pay attention to what those rules are. Let's keep our numbers down so that we can serve our kids the way we want to, and everyone can open back up. But we do have some rules and regulations that we're going to have to follow. But we are starting to scale up. So anybody who's looking for summer employment, please get in contact with us. Any kids looking for summer employment, we might do an employment program where they get paid to learn online, because getting a worker's permit right now is probably going to be a little bit tough with schools closed. So, any kind of creative thing we can do to keep kids engaged both online and physically in our facilities, I think is super important. But, this is our new normal. We're going to probably continue to make these calls. We're probably going to continue to use TikTok as a platform to communicate. But we're also probably going to use those things to ensure that our kids are safe and that they're using these things in a safe way, which I think is another thing that we as youth development workers can start taking into consideration when we're talking with our kids. Safety is huge. Online safety is a big deal. And the things that we're learning and seeing on some of those TikToks, like, we have to start having those conversations because they're serious. And we can't just turn a blind eye to that, because that's the next generation of professionals. It's who's going to take care of us, or our kids. And we're just looking forward to the days we can open these doors, man. I got to tell you, our frontline staff are our heroes, and they are itching to get back to work on a daily basis, protecting our kids, making sure their families are protected. But like, this is our heart. This is our lives. We are codependent on our babies. We want to see them.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. And guys, thank you for this interview. I know those kids and those families at home are watching this, and they're really, really proud of you guys. They really appreciate all the work that you've done and that you continue to do. And please let us know. Come back soon. We love to hear from you guys. And we're going to keep on sharing. We're going to keep on tuning in. And I got to follow you guys on TikTok.
Yeah, definitely.
I know.
It's a good time.
All right, guys. Well, hey, y'all have a blessed rest of y'all week, and keep on fighting the good fight. And hopefully this will be all over soon. So
thank you so much. Have a good
you.
day.
Thank you.
Hey, no problem. Y'all have a blessed one. Later.
It's your boy, Just Dom, catching the day's latest news. What's going on around the roads? Find out here first at the TCP Newsbreak.